Hello and welcome back to Popcorn and Beers, and we have a butter on top that has caused the curse of Babylon to strike again. Where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs, we use the stuff that gets you drunk. Ooh, Topo Chico. I love a good Topo Chico.
This is delicious, dog.
Yeah.
Alcohol free. It's just good.
the alcohol one is very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It's drinks so smooth. Topo Chico is easily one of the smoothest seltzers that exists.
Topo Chico Sabores.
Out of Prague.
Oh, that's good. I've had that.
So yeah, it's a good beer. It's nice. It's smooth. It goes easily with movies. Now, why did I say the Curse of Babylon? Everybody looked at me funny. Well, if you've been following our show for 2 years now, wow, crazy! For 2 years, a while back, we had a movie called Babylon that was our butter on top, and Jordan was the only one that got to see it. Why? Because it hadn't released here in England. And we have that happen again with Trapped. Trapped has not released here in England yet. It comes out next week. So I'm hoping to have a review for you guys next week as it pertains to Trapped. But for now, Jordan, why don't you get us started with our butter on top, M. Night Shyamalan's finest, or at least newest, Trapped.
What a twist!
With a twist.
All right. M. Night Shyamalan cemented himself as one of the 3 best uncles of all time. Let me tell you why. By the way, that list is Uncle Ben, Uncle Sam, and Uncle Night Shyamalan. Because he created the greatest album rollout of all time for his niece. Because that is essentially what this movie is. His niece stars in this film. She writes and produces and sings all of the music because it takes place at a concert. Takes his daughter to this concert. She is essentially this like Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande type. Very, very great, talented singer. And the songs are good. They are legitimately good songs.
Say it for the kids. Are they bangers, Jordan?
They're bangers. They're
good stuff. We got some bangers.
We got a bro banger.
They are as good as, if not better than 75% of the stuff you hear. They're pretty good. But she is a terrible, horrible actress. Sorry. She is
Mariah Carey.
Yeah. And it's not just like, she's just the singer on stage and the action is taking place around her. She is a central figure throughout this movie. Doing
is her stage name Lady Raven?
Yes.
Bro, her name is so hard to pronounce. Saleka?
I guess.
That's her name. That's the actress's name or his niece's name. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Jordan. So it's a large music video for her entire album.
Yes.
It's basically like, what was that Beyonce album that was all a movie?
Lemonade.
Lemonade, yeah. It's basically Lemonade.
Yeah. So she looks like him. So you're like, okay, she looks like related. No, literally like, her features, everything looks like him. So M. Night Shyamalan makes a cameo in this as like a guy that's like a stage tech, and he's like, this is he basically directly says that this is my niece.
Gotcha.
In the movie, in his cameo in the film. So you're like, oh, okay.
Hey guys, I hope you like my niece's new album. Here's the show.
Made a movie about it.
Yeah. This is how you know that he is not a real person, M. Night Shyamalan. Like, he is not grounded in regular society because they're walking into the concert and, there's carts outside the venue selling stuff. And if you're a normal person, you know that those carts are like 15 of those guys selling bacon-wrapped hot dogs, probably Latino. But there's like a Calypso lemonade cart. And I'm like, where do they do that at? And actually, this movie takes place in Philadelphia. And I'm like, there's no way in Philadelphia, outside of concert venue, there's just a guy selling Calypso lemonade carts. Because nobody drinks Calypso lemonade is disgusting. And maybe that's my personal opinion, but that is gross. That is not my go-to lemonade.
I've never heard of Calypso lemonade before.
All right. It's disgusting. So...
what is it? No, the audience needs to know why it's just
lemonade, right? It just
tastes like crap. Yeah, it just tastes like crap. Honestly,
what is it? What is Calypso lemonade?
It's glass bottled lemonade with like some real fruit kind of bits that sit at the bottom, and it's just very bitter and not good.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it just don't do it. It's gross.
All right.
Um,
You look mad that you even had that I made you describe it. You look angry that you had to tell people what it was.
yeah, stop wasting all of our time on Calypso Lemonade. There's a scene where the daughter is dancing on stage or somewhere she's dancing, and she starts doing the Humpty dance, and I thought that was fantastic. I really liked that. That thrilled me. Kid Cudi makes a cameo in this.
Hey, it's me, Kid Cudi. I'm in this too.
He plays a white-wigged weirdo. He has like a long kind of David Bowie in the Labyrinth kind of look going on, except it's Kid Cudi.
He says he has him listed as the Thinker.
The Thinker, yeah. That's his stage name. He's like a pop star guy too.
Okay.
Russ, if you know who Russ is, he is also in this. Makes a cameo. He's a rapper, R&B singer.
Okay.
So the problem with this movie is that you have to suspend a lot of belief as far as the things that police would do or don't do. First of all, the entire premise is just a violation of civil rights. You cannot just set up an entire, like, have all these people a participant of this massive sting without them knowing. Like, it just puts a lot of people in danger, for one, and then they're just indiscriminately pulling random people, like, out of the crowd. They're like, no, none of the men in this place can leave. Everybody else can go, but none of them, we're keeping all the men here. Like, I don't think you can do that. Pretty sure. And then there's just a number of things. Like, I don't know if I'm spoiling things here. I don't want to spoil anything. But the police just allow him to do a lot of extra things that
Ethan Hawke.
What?
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke. What about Ethan Hawke?
This is the new trailer. Already gave it away. You know that, right?
Ethan Hawke's in this movie?
Or not Ethan Hawke. Sorry, Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett. Oh.
Sorry. Ethan Hawke light.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett.
They
Yeah, you're
allow,
right. Yeah.
they allow the killer Josh Hartnett to get away with a lot of things that you're just
That's
like.
not a spoiler, by the way. The last trailer already, the very final trailer for this movie, like, revealed it, and I was like, why did they tell me that? I didn't want to know that.
Yeah, there isn't really any twist. This is a pretty straightforward movie along the lines of what M. Night Shyamalan is trying to do the last couple of movies. You're kind of waiting on it, which is fun. You're waiting on that twist, but you're just like, oh, okay, you know, it's fine. Josh Hartnett in scary movies is very good. I love Josh Hartnett in scary movies. 30 Days of Night.
It's one of the best vampire movies of all time.
Could be a classic in the future.
I don't care what people. That's one of the best. If we took all the vampire movies and lined them up, 30 Days of Night is one of the best vampire movies ever.
Even if you base it solely on, like, how fresh the perspective is on it, like whether or not the story's great, no one's done that.
Yeah,
nobody's done that.
It was awesome.
Yeah. The dialogue in most of this movie is really, really bad for like the first half. But it might be purposeful because Josh Hartnett is just kind of this sociopath. He's kind of like a Dexter.
Gotcha.
Kind of weird guy. But at the end, it gets really intense, and the acting really comes alive with him and the character who plays his wife.
Okay.
You would know her from a lot of different things.
Is his wife's name Riley?
No, that's the daughter.
Ooh,
is it Miley?
She looks old in her picture. Is it Harrison or Allison Pill?
Allison Pill. Allison Pill. Yeah, that's her.
So it's Rachel Adams. Yeah, Rachel Adams is the character she plays.
Yeah, him and his wife, they have some real good scenes together. There'll probably be a sequel to this.
Yay!
Just saying. And there's a really funny soon after the first few credit scene. So after, like, they say director and produced by, you get a little short credit scene that's really funny, actually. So stay and watch that. This was a fun movie. I liked it. I give it a popcorn in 1, though.
Pop in 1. You know what? M. Night Shyamalan is our, like, 50 hitter. Like, he's a 50% hitter. Mm-hmm. I think it's half and half.
Like, he takes big swings, though, and that's cool. We like that.
He does. And you know what? I went back and watched some of the movies that we said were trash. And the only one that's really, truly trash that's like, oh, my God, it's terrible is The Happening with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
Like, that's the only one that's...
I thought you were going to say Lady of the Water, because I kind of like Lady of the Water.
It has elements of a good movie in Lady in the Water. Like, it's interesting, at least, you know? And same with The Village.
The
like, people were like...
Me and Fry saw that happening together, and the scene where he's trying to talk down the plant in the corner of the room, boy, oh boy, I couldn't stop laughing. Hey, plant, how you doing? You're not going to kill me, right?
Wahlberg style. You gotta kill this anger with some push-ups. All right, so we have a special feature. Josh got out to the theater and got to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and he's gonna review it for us as well. You already got Jordan and I. We both gave it a popcorn and a 3. So, Josh, what do you think?
Deadpool and Wolverine had me smiling consistently. Big, like my cheeks hurt after, and that's not to include like how many times I laughed. There was so many. It's packed full, and then it might be the best ever opening for a movie.
Where he jerks off the bone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like,
that was so
oh my gosh, the whole thing was so thoughtful and so stupid and so like meta, and yeah, I just love. And then when he gets the claws and he's like, "Ooh," no, he goes, "Ooh," or what does he do? I don't know. Man, it was just brilliant. It's a brilliant movie. I don't care what anybody says. We're not trying to further the grand scheme of the storyline overall for the MCU with every movie. Sometimes you just make a good movie, and that's what Deadpool is. If you read one Deadpool comic, he doesn't accomplish anything, even though he does something major. His stuff never affects like the X-Men's universe and stuff. He just does. He hangs out with Thor for no reason one time, you know. And shout out to the movie, that was pretty interesting with the Thor, all those. I mean, I could definitely go on.
We're not going to spoil this one.
I wish they got a mask that fit Channing Tatum's face better.
No, it was the funny part though. They were making fun of it because he was trying to get the movie done for 10 years. So over the course of 10 years, like his body has changed. So now he's like, you know, kind of got that dad bod going on. The uniform's a little bit more snug. Like that's what was so funny about it. It's like you said, meta, but it was so inside. Go ahead.
I get you.
He looked like a sausage bursting out of its casing for sure.
but the fight scenes were dope, man.
But anyway, yeah, it's great. And Channing Tatum, like you said last week, like he's so good at playing it straight to be the joke. I mean, he's really good at that. Bullet Train, whatever.
Yeah, it's always funny. What is it? Free Guy, I said. It's fantastic. And then this is the end
great.
Where he plays the dog, and this is the end. Like it just gets me every time.
For sure. And you know, you always talk about the cool fight scene in the elevator, Captain America, but what about 2 men with a bunch of guns and knives in a little car? That was so good. I mean, you could just go on all day. Who cares about the stuff that doesn't make any sense? Who cares? This movie's a popcorn in 3.
Yeah.
The hand through the skull really got to Jordan.
Me too, dude. When she's like going in and out of a nostril.
I was like, oh my God,
boy,
stop.
Boy, oh boy! And you said you liked Paradox. What I really liked is the joke with Deadpool, where he's like, "No, we already have a British villain."
Well, if you watch Succession, if you watch the show Succession, like I'm sure a lot of people that watched the finale of Succession wanted to see Tom get his, and they finally give it because the actor that plays Paradox is Tom in Succession.
Okay.
So I know a lot of fans of Succession were like, "Yes, he finally gets it."
He's like,
there's
we're
no
talking
reward.
about like variants and multiple versions of yourself, like Lady Deadpool. That guy is Clive Owen's variant.
How did you feel about Cavalrine?
Cavalrine. Oh, that was wonderful. I was more excited about.
He'd be a good one. He'd be a good Wolverine.
Oh, he would be. He would be a good Wolverine.
That.
I mean, he was so massive. We were walking up to him like, "Who is this beefcake looking like Zangief?"
Yeah.
Beef Boys are back, baby.
That we need them. We need them.
Well, was actually really what shut my mouth was when I saw comics proportioned accurately Wolverine, where he's 5 feet tall or whatever. Yeah. Boy, oh boy! I've been saying let's get a short Wolverine in this next time around. Make him short. I'm good. I'm good.
You saw it and you don't need it?
We don't need that.
I thought it was funny too. Is as you look now, they're starting to release all the Easter eggs. Welsh Wolverine was a character off Welcome to Wrexham. He's not a character. He's a striker for the Wrexham soccer team. Yeah, it's Paul Mullen. He's the Wrexham striker who was in the movie. So that's
who was like for real? My favorite was Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. That was sick.
Yeah,
give me that movie.
When he kills Deadpool in like 30 seconds. He kills him in like 30 seconds. It's like boom, boom, dead. Which is really the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine because he kills Magneto, he kills Apocalypse. He's really a badass. But anyway, all right, that's awesome. Now on to your drunk classic. We're going to give you 2 platforms, Josh, because we missed you last week. You chose Dick Tracy as your drunk classic.
I sure did.
All right, so let's go. Talk to me. Why was it the cast?
Speaking of movies where they make it just so they can sing some songs, we watched Dick Tracy, and I haven't seen it since I was a child. Saw this with my grandma. I don't know, maybe 8 at the most. I was probably younger than that, so I barely remember it. I remember thinking at the end of the movie, I was like, "Huh." And that's kind of how it ended up here today. But I did enjoy the movie. It was great to see it again. Al Pacino playing the most what was Al Pacino doing? I mean, I liked every ounce of it, but what's up? That was
he got
crazy.
to be maximum Al Pacino.
Oh
he got
boy,
to be maximum Pacino.
But he did it. He had a little spin. He wasn't the average Pacino. He was very cartoon. He really leaned into I'm a radio cartoon personality. And everyone did. Shout out Dustin Seymour Hoffman. I liked it. It was fun. I kept thinking, who is that kid? What's that kid from? He's the kid from Hook.
That's right.
Charlie Corsmo.
Yeah, I couldn't place it till the end. But anyway, did you notice halfway through the movie he got freckles? It was weird. Anyway. Critics in the past panned it. They said, one guy I read, said this was really an exercise in film work rather than a movie. Okay. So they're showing you really cool sets, really cool backdrops, really cool, I forgot explosions looked like that back then. They really threw the dynamite in there, dude. Not today it's all CG, mostly CG, but that was some big explosions, dog. I loved all the face work. I like Little Face the best. Little meatball head, what? And this is a popcorn movie, though. It was very of the time. Someone made Batman. They're like, hey, we got to do some shit like that. Yeah. So they grabbed another IP that's rather old. They have cartoons. It's an old radio show from the old days when people were old.
When people were old.
So it's definitely in that vein. They've really hit the genre, I say, more or less perfect. The only big bump in the road was Madonna. And it wasn't so much that she was in it. It was just why are we watching her sing again? And, the song's not good. This isn't a good song. Why would Madonna pick a good song? So that's all I got to say. Pacino, big shout out. Popcorn. Popcorn.
Warren Beatty did okay as Dick Tracy. Looked old.
Yeah, he was good. Everybody was good.
To quote Josh's favorite adjective, old. But Paul Sorvino was fun as Lips right at the beginning as well. That character is hilarious, and you look at him and you're like, why is Madonna dating that guy?
Yeah.
Why is that her choice? Look at how pretty she is. She couldn't get a better mobster. She couldn't get a better mobster to get to front her campaign.
And him. Shout out. I forgot to say, stacked cast. Everyone was a top tier character actor.
Yeah, Kathy Bates, Dick Van Dyke. There's a lot here to chew on. It's aggressively bad. There's a lot going on. It's too much at many different points. It reminded me of the movie with Whoopi Goldberg where she has a T-Rex as a partner. What movie was that? Where she has a T-Rex as a police.
I gotta look that one up. I forgot about that.
She has a T-Rex as a police partner.
Sounds excellent.
So there's a lot going on. I think there's also a movie called T-Rex where the two dinosaurs have sex with each other. They show it. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot in this movie going on where I'm just like, wow. Oh, there's some boobies. Like it was a lot. There was a lot to digest. I did like that they made Dick Tracy's girlfriend more appealing than Madonna's character, Breathless
Yeah, I
Mahoney.
was worried about that, and from the beginning. At the beginning, I was like, "Is it gonna be another one of those? What's that modern meme about? You can't convince me that." Oh man, it's been going around.
The
Starship
movie's
Troopers.
Oh,
Starship
gotcha.
Troopers. The whole meme is like, you can't tell me, like, his biggest mistake was, like, not going for the other girl. Like, obviously, you go for the other girl. But this time, it wasn't that.
Dang, now that you said that, like, the actress's name left my brain, but Denise Richards.
Yeah.
Denise Richards is beautiful, dude. Like, I guess they're both beautiful women, but, like,
Yes.
either way, that was a pick'em in Starship Troopers. I'm sorry, that's a pick'em. Either one. Denise Richards is beautiful, the other girl's beautiful. Johnny was he had it going on in Starship Troopers. I'm sorry.
He was just all chin, babe. Jaw chin, boy.
Choice of kings. But I will tell you, Dick Tracy for me did take me back to my childhood. Like Josh said, having all the action figures. I had Dick Tracy comic books. I had Dick Tracy action figures, you know?
Yeah.
And
I want that coat. I've always wanted that coat.
The yellow trench coat with the yellow hat.
Oh, yeah. What was it made of? Was that just, like, thick cotton? It was, like, flowing?
The ties were a time, huh? The short tie,
Right.
but it's thick. Anyway, it is a popcorn. I'm glad they brought it to cinema. I'd be interested to see what a 2025 take on this movie would be, but I don't need it.
Right.
Jordan?
I don't need it.
This as we've all said, the cast is stacked. It's but you can tell everyone really bought into this movie. Like it just seemed like everybody really wanted to be a part of this.
Yeah.
The scenes are really cool. I did not like the way the goons looked. It really freaked me out. This whole movie is just like a fever dream that I feel like I've had. There's a really terrible scene, a specifically really bad one that was like, what were they really thinking here? Was when Pacino is confronting the guy in the graveyard, and it's just him and his two guys walking from really far away, and they're just completely black, and he's just yelling. Like they're just you can't see them at all, and they're just walking up to him yelling, and then as soon as they get up close enough to like you can see his face, the guy just turns around and walks away. And that's like that's the whole scene. And I was like, was that supposed to be in the movie? It was just really weird. Specifically that scene stood out to me. It was fine. I didn't really like it. I like the kid was really funny. This whole can we eat? When do we eat? When do we eat? Kid, yeah.
Had you seen it before?
No, I'd never seen that before.
Okay,
Cool.
all right. That's important for our little metric system that we got going on in this show.
Yeah.
So you had not seen Dick Tracy.
I
When
had
were you
not.
born? 91?
94.
Oh, this movie came out 4 years before you were born.
Yeah, you could tell. No.
And it's
Oh,
not
I was-
rewatchable.
I mean, I was
It is
4 when I
not
saw it. Yeah.
Rewatchable.
This was a popcorn for me.
A
Popcorn?
popcorn for you. Did you regret it, or were you happy you got this piece of cinematic history in your life?
I could have lived without it.
There are elements of Sin City to it, right? There are elements of that, and there are
Sin
elements
City.
of...
I mean, the shots were really great. They had cool, dynamic, artsy shots. They had clearly a crack team of makeup people. It was like, this was everyone, buying all the way in. Planet Hollywood type of stuff.
Yeah,
Like
I
Judge
think
Dredd.
the last scene is nice, like where they have the comic book buildings up, and they get into the car. Like that was pretty cool.
I understand.
It's very
like, this
Gotham,
is,
but like its own version of a Gotham, you know?
this is OG. Like even though the movie came out in the 90s, it's based on some OG like noir, detective noir stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just there's only so many ways you can just because it's very just like specific. Like if you want to hit all those noir points, it's just you're following this formula that's been done so many times, and I just feel like nothing could ever be better at noir than Rorschach in The Watchmen. That whole sequence.
Okay.
I don't think anything can top that for me, but anyway.
Josh and I will argue about The Watchmen till the day I die. He
I like
loves it. I think it's one of the worst movies I
I
ever
thought
got
it's
excited
really
for.
good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
see,
I
you're
don't
on
think it's
Josh's
the best
side.
ever. I
It's
don't
one of the
love
greatest
it, but
comics
it's really
ever,
good.
so I guess I'm
I don't
biased.
think so, man.
I
the
like it a
comic.
lot.
I thought you said comic movies.
Yeah, no. The comic is like big time good. The movie was close to it. It kind of hit some points that were important. So I liked it. I thought the imagery was good. And shout out to the HBO show. Whew.
The HBO show was great. I will say that.
Yeah, the
HBO show was fantastic, and I'm mad that he's like, I'm only gonna do one season. Why do I need to do more? Because it was good, asshole, and I want to see more.
Shithead. I want to hear more about the guy who got himself slippery and just went in the
That's
thing.
That's Nolan, right? That's Christopher Nolan.
I don't think so.
No. Who's that? Who does
did?
Watchmen? No, I guess it's not important.
Snyder. I think.
Snyder. Oh, and that's right. Snyder, we only get one season of goddamn Watchmen, but you want to make 3.5 hour long sequels to Rebel Moon? Nobody's
not a
watching that,
sequel.
bro.
Dog, it's the same thing as he did with the Justice League. It's the director's cut.
But it's like
You gotta
part
be
one.
kidding me.
He repackaged it to he changed the titles, and now it's part 1 and part 2. You're not fooling anybody. Nobody wants to watch that garbage. We didn't want to watch the garbage when it was 2 hours long. We definitely don't want to watch 3.5 hours of it, buddy.
There's still a third movie coming out. It's a trilogy.
Get a grip on reality.
Get a grab.
That's a tax write-off, Netflix. Just to cancel that one.
All right, so Jordan, what were you watching this week?
Yeah, so I watched Righteous Gemstones, season 2 of Righteous Gemstones. We get Eric Andre introduced,
and they're going to build Super Church on an island.
Yep. I love everything Eric Andre does. Honestly, he's such a weirdo. He's just very entertaining, and actually, just he could be just a really pretty good, decent actor, like a good actor when he's just playing in this serious bits within things. It's the motorcycle ninjas, and you get the muscle men tribe from with what's his face,
the youngest
Adam Devine.
Adam Devine, yeah.
Adam Devine. But it's just more of what you got from season 1. Uncle Baby Billy is still probably one of my. He just consistently has my favorite dialogue points.
Baby Billy's Bible bunkers.
Yeah, he's really funny. I give this. I think I gave season 1. I think I might have gave it a popcorn and 2. I'm gonna give season 2 a popcorn and 3. I think season 2 was very, very good. Usually season 2s have a little bit of a falling off. I think this one got stronger.
I mean, Danny McBride, you said Vice Principals is on your list, right? Danny McBride just makes these comedic shows, and they just can't miss. They're so funny. They're so funny.
Yeah.
I laugh at everything. They're so stupid that it makes you laugh. The Muscle Crew is hilarious. Yeah. His best friend, what's his best friend's name?
Keith. I love that guy.
It's so good.
Funny.
And he's like, I will be his tribute. And he tries to lift all the weight. It's good and it's funny, and I think that part of it is hilarious. And then slowly we start to see Edie Patterson, who I love, to become a superstar singer. She wants to live that rock star lifestyle, and that's fantastic. Also, Righteous Gemstones. If you have not seen it yet, please check it out. It is a work of art on HBO or on Max. Pardon me, Max. The unnecessary name change. My first show, I watched Dirty Pop, with the investigation or the documentary around Lou Pearlman, who made Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, but he also made so many bands famous. He did LFO, O-Town. I think it was Force of Nature was another one he had. He created the show making the band. And the big twist in this show is it was all a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Everything was a Ponzi scheme. None of it was real. Right? So everything he did, even he owned a blimp company where companies would rent out blimps to advertise their company, and they'd just crash within a day or 24 hours of taking off. They would just crash. And he would get insurance money off this, and he rolled the insurance money into the Ponzi scheme. He had investors. So he wasn't just robbing these bands. He was robbing his investors, right? Because he created this huge Ponzi scheme. Now, I will say Peter from episode 3, which is the final episode, is ridiculous. So that's really funny. But Chris Kirkpatrick was apparently the stable one in NSYNC, the smart one, the one that got everyone together. And they get their first check, and this is not a spoiler, they get their first check and it's $10,000. And Chris Kirkpatrick was like, wow, this is the most money I've ever seen in my life in a check, right? In one check. And JC Chazet thinks about it, right? Because he's they've been touring for a year. and they get their first check for $10,000. Now, granted, they were flying on private planes, they were getting their hotel stays paid for, they were living in Lou Pearlman's house, had a swimming pool, they had all their food paid for, but they get their first check and it's $10,000. And JC stops for a second. He looks at Chris. He goes, "Yeah, but how much do you make in a year at Outback?" And that's when they all start thinking, like, "Oh wow, these guys are stealing from us." Like, I just got to check, but. I don't know. I did see it from the other perspective because they did offer that perspective of like, wait, well, they're all living in a mansion, which they would not be living in a mansion. They're all eating out at steakhouses and nice restaurants every single night, which would not happen for a band just starting off. They're all flying private for a band that's first starting off, and they get signed by a record label right away in Germany for a band that's just starting off, which it digs into how the record label was stealing from the bands as well. So it's all just, you start to feel really terrible for the talent industry, for the music industry. Any form of talent really gets robbed their first entry into the business, and you get a lot of that. So I had known of this, but I didn't know how deep that Ponzi scheme went, and it was pretty bad. Like, he was stealing from a lot of people, and eventually he died in prison. So I give this documentary a pop 1. Go ahead, Jordan.
Would you agree to be like, okay, I'm going to live this lifestyle for 10 years, but I'm going to walk away with nothing afterward? Would you be like, yes, if you knew about it, if they have told you up front, like, you're going to walk away with absolutely nothing, this is going to engulf your entire life, but you can live this life for 10 years?
It's a difficult question just because that's almost impossible today.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can market yourself so well and have so much side money rolling in.
Yeah.
But Backstreet Boys didn't think that was, I mean, it was a different time, and people weren't as aware of taking care of their own stuff, their own name or whatever. So I would say, yeah, I'd probably live in a mansion for 10 years, sure.
Well, definitely social media, right? Like, with social media today, once you get famous, it's hard to get unfamous with social media.
Yeah, you just take the right-wing heel turn.
Wow. But hey, all right, Josh, what about you? What was your first show?
I watched Inglourious Basterds. Blasters. That sounded like Goofy. Let's get them.
That would be a totally different movie if they did Inglourious Basterds with Goofy. Like,
the bears.
Walks out with a bat,
dragging the bat behind him. That's actually scarier. That's actually scarier the more I think about it.
If it was like the same movie, but a cartoon Goofy is that one character. Donowitz.
Just dragging the bat.
Gosh. Enough of this. Back to serious matters. Inglourious Basterds. I feel like, at least I feel like I've like subconsciously been avoiding Tarantino films recently since we started the show. Mostly, I think I've seen one or two, but like I feel like we've seen a lot of middle-aged white guys talk about Tarantino since forever. So like, why do we want to hear this again? So I'm not going to go hard into it. It's one of the best intros. Shout out to Deadpool Wolverine. But so this is a great intro to a movie as well. And Colonel Landau, anyway, one of the best villains. I like Brad Pitt's performance more and more. Popcorn and 3 movie. You know everything there is to know about that movie. It's so good. I love Tarantino. It does it. Good revenge movie. Popcorn 3.
Killing Nazis.
Buongiorno.
Killing Nazis. Yeah. Raven.
All right, Jordan, what's next?
So this was an interesting movie I watched on Netflix. This was a British dramedy called Wicked Little Letters. And it stars a couple of character actresses that you would recognize from things, for sure. And it actually also stars the little girl who plays Abigail in Abigail.
Okay.
And she's just a really good young actress. This movie is about a religious woman, and she starts receiving these letters through the mail that these like really hateful, nasty, disgusting letters talking about her. And they're convinced that it is the Irish immigrant woman. This is during the potato famine in Britain.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're convinced that it is
Ireland.
Yes, in Ireland, but so they're in. Yeah. So they're convinced that it is the Irish immigrant living next door that is sending these letters. And then the whole town, they arrest her and attack her. And then the letters, she gets out of jail, the letters start coming back, but this time they're going to everybody across the country and stuff. So It turns into this whole shenanigans occurs. There are some funny English slang and words things like, "Oh, we don't want to cause a hurly-baloo around here," and "Butter my wig, butter my wig." There's no way. Yeah,
Butter my wig.
I've lived in England for 2 years. I've never heard either of those.
well, this is some old
It's
stuff. What is
potato
this?
famine days.
Yeah. This is so it's old stuff.
Tell me you like my hat.
It's really funny. It's just it's a real feminist, hurrah. This whole movie, men are really terrible throughout it. Just there's not a single good. I guess no, there's one. All right,
There's one alpha male.
Most of them are pretty terrible. The letters are hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. There's a lot of letter reading, and they're super funny. The ending of this movie is insane. It really, it's just a really good, the way they pull off a lot of this. It's based on a true story. It's a very short movie. I recommend it. It's a popcorn and two. You just have to be you have to be able to follow that whole dry kind of deadpan-y, sarcastic British style of comedy. You have to be into that to like this. But I really liked it.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I also watched a foreign film. I watched Anatomy of a Fall. Finally, like it's one of those movies where I had to get myself up to watch it. Like I had to be in the right headspace. And you know what? I was on an airplane for 9 hours, so why not? Mm-hmm. So I put on Anatomy of the Fall. Downside to this movie is if you can't speak French, you have to watch it with the audio description subtitles, which means the guy and the girl and the people that are doing the telling you what they're saying in French and English, they have to tell you everything that's happening. Boy walks into house, grabs ball, looks at mother, and then they start talking, and then they start translating what it is that they're saying. So you can't just, because if you just turn on English subtitles, it just says speaks French.
Oh, hell no.
Which is so annoying. I kept trying to mess with this. I even put on a different movie I downloaded to see if there was a setting that was turned on. Nope. It has to be with English with audio description.
Well,
by the way, when you did the French, you select French and you turn on subtitles, because it's in English and in French. It's in both languages. Because she's from Germany, he's from France, and their common language, and it goes into this, is English. So they did that so neither one would be on the home side when they started fighting with each other. They wanted to make sure that no one was on home field, so they'd speak in English. So their words couldn't be misinterpreted, because her French wasn't great, his German wasn't great, so they spoke English to each other. Now, it's a movie that's interesting. A father and husband is found dead under suspect conditions because he falls from the third story of their house that they're renovating. And they now have to determine, was this a murder or was this a suicide? And the story gets very intense, and it does do a lot of relationship explaining, which is interesting to think about because lots of couples have these issues. And then the dynamic, right? She held the power in the relationship because he was an English teacher. She was a writer. She was significantly more talented than him when it came to writing. But he always wanted to be a writer, which most English teachers do, whether they want to admit it or not. Most English teachers want to be writers. And they're not writers, they're teachers. And that was their relationship. There is a very brutal scene in this film where he poisons his dog with aspirin to try to get an idea. Yeah, he does an experiment on the dog to see how the dog reacts. Now, the dog survives. Thank God. I was going to lower it. But it's hard to watch. I will say that. It is. They show everything. They show the dog, getting poisoned and when it impacts his system. And I was like, oh, I don't want to see this.
No.
Yeah, it's intense. I won't go too into detail, but the dog's eyes roll back, and so it was hard to watch.
Oh no!
So the lady goes and gets salt water, and she pours it in the dog's mouth. The babysitter, she's not a babysitter, she's like a court babysitter for the kid because they had a son. She pours the salt water down in the dog's throat, and the dog throws up all the aspirin. But the kid did it to get an experiment because the father blamed himself for an accident that occurred to the kid, which caused the kid to lose most of his sight, which is a car hit the kid and detached his retinas.
Ew.
But it's an intense movie. Mostly takes place in a trial. I will say this: the prosecuting attorney, I wanted to slap him repeatedly throughout the movie. I did not like his attitude and his facial expressions, and I was glad he lost because he was an arrogant little shit, and I hated it. I suppose that's the mark of a good actor, right? Doing a great job. because like every time this guy opens his mouth, I just wanted to see him hit with like a 2x4. It was so annoying. Like, where is Hacksaw Jim Duggan when you need him? But I will give this movie a popcorn and 1. I will say, if you're really into the courtroom dramas, you're probably going to give it a popcorn and 2, because a lot of the movie does take place in court. It does take place with her and her lawyer. It's very interesting how they go into like splatter specialists, like splatter experts of how blood's supposed to splatter if people fall in certain ways. They go into like fall experts, how people fall, like if they were to fall, where they would hit, how they would hit, what happens if snow melts, if they fell into the snow, and what that could do to any item that contained DNA. That part was pretty interesting. So I do give it a popcorn and 1. Most of you know it was nominated for an Oscar at this year's Oscars. Josh.
Hi. I actually didn't really watch anything else except for, I just want to do a quick shout out. I started watching Batman the Caped Crusader, I believe it's called. It's a new animated series on Prime. And it looks like the animated series from the 90s team just picked right back up where they started. But now they're using like better technology to make a good cartoon. So it's just an updated version of the old cartoon. It's really
like
good.
X-Men 97 thing with Batman?
They're doing an X-Men 97 thing with Batman. But their own style, of course. And it's Bruce Timm. It's the same guy from the old movies.
Yeah.
Well, the old cartoon. So he's back, and then I'm assuming a lot of the old team is back. But they're clearly making some choices, though. Like, first episode, guess what? The Penguin is a large woman now. Okay, that's kind of where I've stopped watching it. I hadn't had a chance to really fully see them perform. But
Didn't
I'm
they
still
just do that with Spider-Man Multiverse? Isn't Doc Ock a woman?
Doc Ock's a woman, but I like that. That was pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about Penguin, but I haven't really seen it in action. I just started watching it. I just want to get... Bring back Beef Girls. We'll see what happens. You'll never beat DeVito.
You need to watch that episode of South Park. You need because you're gonna laugh your ass off when you see it. It's just Cartman and he's saving Disney. And he's like, get a character, make it female, make it gay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so funny.
So that's what happened here. But yeah, so far it's good. I can't wait I'm going to bust this open and all this next week. I can't wait to talk about it.
I'm excited to hear you talk about it. Jordan, you watched a movie that I downloaded this week, and I didn't get to it because I passed out. So talk to me about Tarot.
Just be happy you passed out on this one because this is a straight up popcorn, if that. It stars Jacob Batalon from Spider-Man. He's Ned from Spider-Man.
Okay.
This is Sci-Fi Channel level bad teen horror movie dialogue and acting. It's just bad, top to bottom. If it has one thing going for it, some of the like effects and things that they do are pretty cool. Some creepy like costume work and design and all that. It's just like, oh, let's rent a mansion and go down in the creepy basement that's full of all these occult items and start playing with things, and of course we get cursed.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's no other option.
Right. Friends, they're playing with the tarot cards, and it's just very heavy on like the astrology. Like, oh no, you're gonna die soon because Mercury is in retrograde and you're a Libra. It's just like literally that is like 50, almost more than 50%.
Josh couldn't even get a word out. He's like, never mind, that's stupid.
It's 50% of the dialogue is just like equivocating these things with astrology and just nonsense. It's just plain nonsense. It's got this horribly abrupt title sequence that just when you get the tarot across the screen, but really something dramatic is supposed to happen before that. It doesn't. It's just like this whole movie. It just don't watch it. It's not good. I like to. It's my my charity work I do for the fans of this show is watching these bad scary movies so you don't have to.
You did watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I do remember that.
I do this quite often for you guys. I hope you appreciate it.
All right, so I watched Abigail, which is a movie that Jordan Lowe did. He liked it a lot. And I gotta say, he was right. It is a fun take on a vampire movie. We were talking about how 30 Days a Night, top 10 vampire movie. I think if I watch this movie a couple more times, it might like start to peek its way into that top 10 vampire movies because it is a fun take. I could have done without the reveal at the end. Oh, it's over a year old. I don't think it's a spoiler, right? I could say it. The reveal is her father at the end, and I was like, that's stupid. I didn't need that. That was unnecessary. Like, I was fine with just her dominating things. And that's what this movie is. It is a little girl as a vampire wrecking shop. Wrecking shop. And I love the line, you make a great little girl. Thanks, I've had centuries to perfect it. and she does that. And she makes fun of one of the main characters. She's like, you can't just learn all the cool shit in one day. It takes years to master all the cool shit vampires can do. And that was pretty funny. Like calling him out on his arrogance, but it is her wrecking shop the whole movie, and she tears people apart. You will know that the late drug dealer from Euphoria is in this, and he plays the exact same character as he plays in Euphoria. Yeah. So not a lot of range on him. R.I.P. You know, I know he's gone, but I mean, I get it. I give this movie a popcorn and 2. I think everybody should see it if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of like just goofy, scary movies that have like, you know, all the tropes. It uses all the tropes. It just replaces it with better actors. And it was fun time.
Yeah, instant addition to the October rotation.
Abigail?
Yeah, for sure.
Where you're setting up for Halloween, that's going to be on in the background now?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, well, Jordan, what was your next thing?
So this was the final thing I watched, and I watched it live last night. This was Joe Rogan's stand-up special, Burn the Boats. And he leans fully into the perception, which is really the reality of him, is he just spews a lot of right-wing conspiracy nonsense under the guise of like, oh, this is just a joke. Don't listen to me. I'm stupid. But it's just you do have a responsibility when you have this much of an audience, knowing how dumb the vast population of human beings are, and knowing
his audience,
your audience, yes, and knowing that they are going to believe this crap you say. Like it's not just so. But look, it's funny. It's really, really, really funny. A lot of the things, most of the things he's saying, he's just got a really stupid caveman take on just these things. And if you just take it as like, this is just comedy and don't take it seriously.
It's just your uncle drunk at the barbecue.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Hey, I got that tape if you want to listen to it.
Yeah. He's really funny. Honestly, he's starting to look pretty terrible. He's starting to look pretty old and just, I don't know, I'm sure he's not, but just somewhat like plastic surgery. Like he just looks, he looks leathery and just, he looks not healthy for some reason. He's like
too healthy.
Maybe. His,
Isn't he like a short king too? Isn't he like 5'5"?
Yeah, he's a pretty short guy.
He's short, yeah.
And he will beat the shit out of me, I'm sure. So I hope I never run into him in public.
You guys want to see me kick something?
What if he crush his can on my forehead?
Yeah.
Dude, check it out, dude.
His physical comedy, or some of it's good, but it mostly consists of him just doing like this intense eye,
he does that a
raise, wide eyeball thing, and he does it too much. And then there's also some weird camera angles and things that go on that make it look like his eyes, he has a Biggie Smalls eye or something. It's going in two different directions.
Weird.
And I thought I was the only one catching that, but I looked over and I was like, hey, are his eyes really freaking you out right now? And we were in agreement. You got like the douchebags in the crowd that he does address in his special, which was for a tape special. It was like,
Yeah.
It's like, why did you could have cut that or something. I don't know what you could have done, honestly, but honestly, you reap what you sow. You have your fan base is built on this macho douchebag army, and just like, yeah, that's what your show is going to attract. I watched a Hot Ones episode with Shane Gillis, and he's like, yeah, it is a problem for me. He said, I did a show in Bakersfield, California, and they're just dudes constantly yelling out dumb crap throughout my set. and it messes me up. It's one of the worst shows I've ever had. So there's a lot of that, and he calls a person out on some of that, and it grinds the show to a halt. He doesn't really handle it in a funny way necessarily. He just really kind of just eviscerates the guy. He has very sweaty underboob. Like comedians get very sweaty on stage, the pits and whatnot. He wears a shirt that does not help at all.
It's
but it's just
dad shirt.
Literally just under the pecs. He's just got a line of sweat, and that's
Jordan
the only
just
place.
wanted to show off his Scooby-Doo shirt.
Yes, I went to a Scooby-Doo. I went to a Scooby-Doo themed escape room, and I bought the T-shirt because it was incredible. Just got a shout out to Escapology.
That's what the audience wanted to know. They did not want to hear about Joe Rogan anymore and his shitty special.
Scooby-Doo theme escape room, fantastic. They have a Batman one. I'll be back soon. That special was a popcorn and tear.
Poppy 2. Poppy 2.
Wow. Yeah.
All right.
Really
just because of
funny.
the humor? All right.
It's just idiot caveman humor, but it's funny. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. I did
So sensitive.
Unstable Season 2, and they bring a new character into the fold. Now, this is a Rob Lowe vehicle. I believe it might be his real son. I'm going to look up the cast as I talk. It is not a good show. It's not good. No one should watch it. You're not going to like it. I warned you. I told you it's not good. I told you you're not going to like it. So if you watch it, that's your fault. But I will tell you this. I mean, it is fun to see someone like Rob Lowe get goofy. Like, that is fun. And, like, he is, like, a notorious nut. So when he was on Parks and Recreation, I loved it. Like, I thought he was hilarious. When he tries to get Ron Swanson to eat the mushroom burger, and he makes what'd you put in this? Me.
Yeah. I always I very often daydream about him just in the mirror. Stop pooping. It's so good.
Yeah, like he definitely it is his son. It is his son. So I think this is one of those shows that he gets to make with his kid.
Yeah.
And it must be fun for him. But overall the show is not good. It's not creative. Again, like when I was teasing you guys about tires, and I was like, it's just Netflix's formula. They do the same shit on every single sitcom they have, the same characters, the same jokes. It's just different actors, different skin suits playing the roles. And this is no different.
Take it back,
It is no different. There is one funny scene, and it's the funniest scene in the whole second season. It's the last episode, second to last episode maybe, where they play two different characters. Because his son wants to show that he's not his father, that he's a different person, and to prove to his son that, you are exactly like me, they go to a real estate convention, and they play characters at this real estate convention, and all his son keeps doing is, imitating his dad's character, or, copying the jokes that the dad makes.
Oh, that's funny.
And it gets so bad that the dad he thinks his dad wants to win so bad that he's going to sleep with this woman, and you'll recognize her. She is... she's in a bunch of stuff. I can't think of her name right now, but she's another character actress. But you'll recognize her right when you see her on screen. She's been in, I think, a Drunk Classic we watched. But she walks out in her robe with 2 glasses of wine, and he's like, "Are you really this low? You're gonna sink this low that you have to win by this?" And he goes, "No, I wasn't actually gonna do it." He's like, Sue came up, and I couldn't perform. And he's like, "Who's Sue?" And he's like the character's dead wife. Like he made up a character's dead wife. And that's why he couldn't perform. And then eventually the female character goes, "Look, no one's going to bleep me. You guys both have to get out of my room." So that too was pretty funny. But outside of that, it's just not a good show. It's one of those shows you put on to pass the time in the background, to be honest. So this is a popcorn, and this is Unstable Season 2 on Netflix. Jordan, what do we have for our butter on top this week?
Butter on top.
Jordan, wait. Jordan gets a twofer. Jordan, what's our butter on top, and what's our drunk classic?
Woo! We have Borderlands, based on the hit video game from Bethesda, I believe.
Gearbox.
Sorry, not Bethesda. Gearbox. We got some. It's pretty good cast here. Sci-fi, funny, action.
Got a great cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna expect the worst, but I'm gonna like it no matter what because my bar's this low right now, so it's probably gonna be fun.
Yeah, and you love the video game franchise. It's one of those things that brings you
It's
and your
one of
brother
my
together.
favorite games ever made. One,
Yeah,
and
I
two,
know
and
it brings
three.
you and your brother together because we were supposed to play together, and you and your brother decided to stay up all night long and play till you were like super high levels ahead of.
That's right.
All right, so
Yeah.
Borderlands and Jordan, what is our drug classic?
So I was gonna go serious movie, switch it up because I think you guys have picked some, some silly movies the past couple weeks. We had Idiocracy and Dick Tracy. I was gonna go
UHF.
serious, get a change of pace here, but I want to get these summer movies off while the iron's hot. I'm not gonna go serious. I'm gonna go serious summer movie. Serious.
What are you
summer movie.
picking? Are you going serious or not?
Seriously,
Summer
bro.
movie. I'm going with Lords of Dogtown.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
yeah,
Heath Ledger, what's up?
yeah.
Probably the ground.
Oops.
Too soon? Too soon?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, audience, we appreciate you tuning in each and every week. We got some great reviews coming up next week. We will see you at the movies for Borderlands. You bring the popcorn. We got the beer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.